what's up guys, we have Nikon's new P340, which means that it's one of those performance series of cameras. So they do not exactly give emphasis on the look and build quality or even the pocketability of the camera or the style and other things, but they would rather have the best of performance plus image quality, best of lens as far as the Coolpix camera series goes. However, this guy looks pretty good to me actually. Pretty simple and non-pretentious kind of a camera. Very tiny. The USP of this camera will have to be the 1 by 1.7 inch sensors. Now that's a slightly bigger sensor than the usual 1 by 2.3 inch sensors you would see. Because of the big sensor, you have only a 5x optical zoom, because in that sensor, if you want to have a long optical zoom, then you would have to pay definitely more. Now this guy is going to cost just under 19,000, that's the MRP, but you might get it for slightly cheaper online or with your local vendor. And it also has built-in Wi-Fi, as you can see, and 12.2 megapixels, and let's see some of those quick specs. Or I already told you, also supports full HD video recording, 30 FPS. So first of all, this guy is very pocketable. It has two mainly very thin metal sheets joined out here. The black model, very non-pretentious. We like this nice texture that you generally see on those Nikon performance series of cameras. It gives that hole, does not slip from your hand, but we hate this awful hole. It's very small for even my tiny hands, and it's gonna slip off very easily. But to help you, you have this rubber here so that you can rest your thumb here, and then this one, and the camera is small enough so that you can actually control it all the while with one hand, and it will be pretty stable, mainly because it does not have a very long optical zoom as well. So that 1 by 1.7 inch sensor, 5x optical zoom, and you also have vibration reduction. Now this is a lens shift vibration reduction, not the hybrid or the electronic vibration reduction. And lens shift or optical vibration reduction is the best form of reduction. It stabilizes the image before the image is formed. So that's amazing to have an optical vibration reduction technology. You have your focal length starting from 5.1 till 25.5 mm, which kind of starts from 24 to 120 mm in 35 mm equivalent, which is a pretty standard zoom, and you can use it for most of your daily purposes. This starts at f by 1.8. That's extremely fast for compact digital camera, but it goes up to 5.6 only. So 5.6 at 120 mm is not exactly fast. However, if you want to shoot at the wide end, f by 1.6 will give you great, amazing low light image quality, and we'll come back to that later. You also have an FN button. You can customize this button, and then you have your autofocus assist lamp. On top, you have the flash button. You can manually pop out the flash, very tiny flash. Yeah. And then you have built-in Wi-Fi, no built-in GPS mind you, and your shooting mode dial. So you have some of those semi-customizable options. Plus, you also have a U button so that you can save one of your custom settings as a presetting. It's a great feature, mind you, so that you do not have to go to one of these 4 modes every time and then do that fine-tuning to get to your personal settings. Apart from that, you also have your FX and some of the scene modes and a totally automatic mode. The stereo mics, the shutter release button, zoom lever, power button, and then one of your command dials, you can see. Behind you have the non-touch fixed LCD screen, 3-inch dedicated video button, and your in a flash indicator lamp, and some of the other usual buttons. Or you can see here you have a micro HDMI port plus a micro USB 2.0 port, so you can charge this device as well as transfer data even with your mobile USB cable. Here only the flash button out there. You can also tie your lanyard with this eyelet. tripod mount, and then it will take your ENEL 12050 mAh battery plus full size SD card slot. So overall, we really like the very thin and tiny profile of this camera. It's very pocketable, plus at the same time this actually looks pretty durable. Also it's metal finish, so we definitely like it. You also have this ring out there that's also customizable, mind you. So let's go ahead and check out the user interface and see how this guy looks. So that's how the zoom would go, that max, and you'd see the display out here. We can straight away go to menu, and the menu is very easily very easily browsable, and black background means it's easily viewable or browsable even under sunlight. So you have your ISO sensitivity and some of the other things. Start with image quality really. So NRW is your compact raw format of image, which is great. At least you have a raw format support. You have your picture controls and white balance and continuous mode out here. More out here you have your ISO sensitivity, and it goes up to 12,800, you can see in high mode. And you have noise reduction filter, and then your that neutral density filter as well, active delighting, and some of the other things. So in video you can see movie option, max is 30, progressive you can also shoot at double the frame rate, but it will be interlaced, so it's gonna skip lines. And autofocus mode is full or single, and then you can choose between NTFC and PAL, and then your Wi-Fi settings, and then eventually the system settings. Very intuitive, very easy to use, easy to browse. The biggest strength of the P340 is its very fast f/1.8 lens at wide end, and then the relatively bigger 1/1.7 inch sensor. Now the sensor size difference does not matter much, because 1/1.7 inches slightly bigger was not that bigger to make a significant difference, but the wide end aperture of 1/1.8 is pretty big, and it's big enough to have very clear photos, noise-free photos under low light. So all the low light photos that we took, we mostly tested this camera under low light in parties, in some events, or during festivities at night, and those natural very low amount of light were also enough to capture the subject beautifully. It's a very big aperture, very fast lens as far as the wide end is concerned. The telephoto N1 has a maximum aperture of f/5.6, which is not quite enough for night. We tested it in the daylight, and it, like the wide end, gives pretty detailed picture even when you zoom into almost 100%. Under enough light the pictures are very detailed. The saturation and hue level is also fine. The biggest problem we found is the heavy distortion and vignetting when you captured using raw format. The same thing if you captured using JPEG format, they kind of almost fine, because probably the camera auto processes it, but the raw images at the wide end came very distorted, almost like a fisheye, and the vignetting was clearly visible on the fore end. About this camera is it's very fast f/1.8 at the wide end. Now this gives amazing low light quality. I would rather shoot at wide end and then crop the picture rather than zoom into all the 5x. At the 5x 5.6 it's pretty slow, but it's still alright under enough light. Apart from that, well, I think it's slightly overpriced at 20k. I know the sensor is slightly bigger, but it's not that big also. You go about 5k up, you would get the RX100 One. So this guy is actually pretty overpriced, but we like all the customization options, the U version here, and then the FN button, also this ring. So should you get this camera? Well, if you have 5 or 6k more, I would say better go for the RX100 version 1. That's a mind-blowing camera. It also has a much bigger sensor, 1-inch sensor, almost the same zoom range, almost the same. I think that goes up to about 100 mm in 35 mm equivalent, or just over 100. But that's amazing, and that's better than this camera in almost every sense. But if you really would want a very pocketable camera, you're a Nikon fan, maybe even if you're not a Nikon fan, but you like a performance camera, you're really hell-bent on getting very sharp pictures, and particularly you would always want a very fast lens, a very wide aperture lens for those low light photography, and a very pocketable camera so that you can carry it just like your phone everywhere, then I think the P340 makes a very strong case. And you might get it for slightly cheaper online, maybe 2-3,000. I haven't checked online, but if you get it for about 2-3k cheaper online, or with your local vendor, maybe Nikon authorized vendors, then I think this can be a great buy. Now note that this is important. Note that Nikon clearly says on their site that they these online stores, like let's say Flipkart or Amazon, and those are not affiliated to Nikon. So your warranty might not work if Nikon comes to know that you have bought this from Flipkart or Amazon.in. But the interesting thing is, if Nikon comes to know. If you like this video, then please hit the like button, ask anything related to this camera, and we'll try to answer them all. And please subscribe to our channel for more such awesome content in future. Thank you.